I want to bring up a crazy story, right? This is somebody that was in Canada, so we know about Jeffrey Dahmer and how he was eating people and stuff. And then you think that he insane, but man, he ain't even one of the most insane people, right? But this is the thing we about to discuss though. Is like, did this man do it or not? So this is somebody that had autism, right? And he claimed, like, after they caught him, they call him Willie, Robert William Pickett. So what he had was a butcher shop. With his butcher shop, it was a pig farm. And with the pig farm, what he ended up starting to do though was for 20 years, this man was serving people instead of pigs to Canada. Like, you know what I'm saying? So with him serving people, he was serving women, you know what I'm saying, prostitutes, things and stuff like this. But they was letting it slide for 20 years. He had like some women that escaped before. He had people coming to parties at his house and all this. But for 20 years, they let it slide. You know what I'm saying? And the women that escaped, they went to the police to talk about how he was crazy and stuff like that. Because it was like one woman he wouldn't let out the car. She finally was able to hop out the car. Then another woman, he just ended up threatening her in the truck, talking about, I'm going to do you like the other women. So this is where it get crazy though, right? So with him being autistic though, it's he got locked up. He gonna get out in 2035. So he again was serving these people for 20 years. But this is where it get crazy. He wrote a book while he was locked up, and when he wrote a book while he was locked up, he was saying what was going on was the Hell's Angels was coming to his house, and what they was doing was they was throwing parties, and with them throwing parties, they was sacrificing women, and with them sacrificing women, they was making him do, like, you know what I'm saying, the cleanup work. So he was getting rid of the bodies and stuff. And if you look up the Hell's Angel, look at this, man. They are organized crime, drug trafficking, violent conflict, members of outlaw. They're a motorcycle club, but then they also part of like a lot of police. You know what I'm saying? Drug dealing, trafficking, stolen goods, gun running, extortion, human trafficking operations. And for him to be autistic and stuff, and him to write a whole book, they ain't got rid of the book because in the book he was talking about fallen angels and a whole bunch of stuff in there. Like, man was giving out some stuff that they was saying just didn't sound correct, so they didn't let him let it out. hmm And look at the victims and stuff that he was taking out. But they talking about he was strangulating the women with wires and stuff. But the women that escaped from, he was threatening them with like guns though. So it's, I don't know. It ain't nothing even to say this man or nothing. But when you go look up his story and then you hear about that book that he was writing, and then you hear about them and the parties he was throwing, and the fact that like it was a lot of people knew what he was doing for that 20 years, especially the law enforcement. But it was even times that they would come pull up to his house, they wouldn't go search it, none of that stuff. Like, so it's crazy, man. Like, a lot of stuff be getting gone under the radar, and they starting to put it out now that it's only like two types of people here. If you with the two types of people is the people, again, they tell you in the Bible already. This people that's gonna try to work for God, that's trying to get their higher self up. You know what I'm saying? And not just God, but work for the Most High, because God is the God of fortune, GAD. That's why the pronunciations is crazy, because Dios is also another way to say God in Spanish. So pronunciation, loss in translation, that's something big, but it don't matter as long as you know where your heart at. Because the people that's doing the wrong thing, their heart is not fluttering up, so their mind isn't thinking consciously, but it's fluttering down, and then they only in their subconscious thoughts. So they want to do things that's gonna tarnish them, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna tear them up, that's gonna make them evil, that's gonna make them insane. And then people can also be doing stuff like letting people slide, you know what I'm saying? Letting people slide is another way for the heart to go down, because it's gonna keep building the like aggression inside of somebody until that beast gotta get released. So yeah, if you ever seen Me, Myself, and Irene, that's the one with Jim Carrey where he had the split personalities, and it was showing how he would black out and turn to somebody else because he was subconsciously letting too much stuff build up, and then it would snap, put him to sleep, and then it would wake him up as somebody else. They also put that in what was that? That Disney joint that just came out, Moon Knight. Moon Knight has shows some people personalities can take over like that because it's a click. It'll just switch because they done put too much in there.